What's up, Dream Warriors? Welcome back to another episode of a podcast on Elm Street. I'm Mark,
And I'm Brooke.
and this week we're coming at you with week 2 of our movies that make you wet.
Yeah,
Was that sultry enough, do you think?
I think so.
Is my voice like honey? This was your pick, and we're talking about Bodies, Bodies, Bodies from 2022.
Yep. hmm
A little bit non-conventional for this theme.
I guess.
I mean, it is, but you took me by surprise with this one. I would have never expected this.
Yeah, yeah. My one coworker suggested it to Jennifer's Body
Mm, mm.
because she could make you wet in a different way.
Oh, well, yeah, that is true. That is true. All right, what made you pick this movie?
I don't know. I was wanting to rewatch it for a bit now, and it kind of fits the theme, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I thought it'd be a good discussion. So
Yeah, no, I agree.
get some of those Gen Zers to start to listen.
Yeah, just I mean, we want all the listeners we get, but
Yeah.
sorry, I am pulling up my news thing because I forgot. Uh, okay. All right. No, it's a good choice though. All right, before we start talking about this movie, let's get into our news and not booze tonight.
No booze tonight.
No booze tonight. So news and I don't know. News and other substances. How about that?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm drinking water. I'm assuming you're probably drinking something similar.
I am also drinking water. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
You had the genius idea of partaking in the green substance tonight. And
hmm
I mean, I couldn't let you have all the fun. So
That's true. Yeah.
I joined. I joined.
Love
Um,
it.
yeah. So I guess for the news, or no, what would you watch this week? What'd you watch this week? We'll do that first.
Watched quite a bit this week. Let me bring it up here. Um, no horror movies. That's okay. Started getting back into my IMDb list. So I watched a movie called Cinema Paradiso. Really good. I really liked it. Kind of a callback to movies and like why you love, like how you grew to love movies as a kid.
Okay.
Really good. Highly recommend it. Watched The Wizard of Oz after a discussion last week, and
Yeah.
I
You
thought it was okay. I thought it was
killing me.
okay.
Killing me,
Yeah,
Smalls.
I know. Rewatched John Wick Chapter 4 again, watched in theaters again with my buddy from work.
Nice.
Had a good time. Got into comedy phase, so I watched Game Night, Hot Tub Time Machine, and Adventureland.
Sweet.
Adventureland was a first watch for me. I thought it was just okay.
Yeah.
Rewatched Drive. Fucking one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie so much.
I have a confession. I've
So
never watched I've never watched that movie in full.
you've never watched it?
No, not in full.
Oh,
Hmm.
should let you borrow it.
Maybe I should do that.
Actually, it's on Paramount Plus if you have that.
Yeah, I do. Okay. Maybe I'll check it out then.
You better, man. Like, I watched Turbo randomly. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of Ryan Reynolds movies, like I guess intentionally now.
Yeah.
The movie's not that great.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched Sunset Boulevard, another IMDb movie. Really good. Another kind of like movie about movies and like the transition from like the silent era to talkies.
Okay.
Really good. The main actress is like crazy. Like it's really good.
Nice.
And then I watched the first Mission Impossible because I'm gonna go through the Mission Impossible movies again before Dead Reckoning Part One comes out in June, I think, June or July.
Hmm.
So yeah,
It's ironic that you started watching them because Alan was looking for them last night to
I
watch.
know. Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah, that's pretty much it.
Sweet. What's going on with my cursor? There we go. It's being weird.
Oh, there's
That's not what I meant to share. God damn it. Hold on a second. I'll get it. I'll get it. There we go. There it is. Boom. All right. So I watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
oh shit.
Wasn't great. Definitely was not great.
Well, I mean, were your expectations high going into it?
No, not high, but I don't know. I thought it could be a fun watch, but I really wasn't that much of a fan of it at all.
Mm,
We took the kids to watch the Super Mario Brothers movie. I
nice.
really enjoyed it. I feel like it was a really good way to adapt the game to the big screen. I don't know, just some of the choices that they made with like how they included the music and like the big controversial no accent on Chris Pratt. Like
Hmm.
they kind of address all that in the movie, and
That's
it's
what I
really
heard.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to watch it.
Yeah, it's fun. I rewatched The Black Phone.
Oh, nice.
Loved it just as much as I did the first time I watched it.
Yeah, I need to
Um,
give that a rewatch.
yeah, I just feel like Ethan Hawke did such an amazing job, and then like the two child actors, they were amazing too. I don't
Hmm.
know, it's just a really good all around movie.
Yeah,
Easter morning or Good Friday morning, we watched Hop with the boys
nice.
because we were all home. Obviously, it was a holiday,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I wanted to put something Eastery on, and I that's pretty much the only Easter movie that I know of. So just toss that on. I watched Holidays, which is a anthology series based around holidays. Obviously, Jess was
Mm,
talking about it in our group chat, so I decided to
yeah.
watch it. It was good. It wasn't great. I
Yeah,
liked
I
some of
think
the
I tried
segments.
watching it a couple years ago, if it's the same one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And I couldn't finish it. I didn't like
Yeah.
it.
Kevin Smith's segment was fucking wild.
Which
I
one was
reckon.
his?
Uh, what month did he do? Was it Halloween? I think he did the Halloween one. Yeah.
Mm,
And lastly, I watched The Fight Machine, which is a new one from Raven Banner. Um, I ordered the Blu-ray of it whenever it released.
nice.
Another one that was like it was good, but it wasn't great.
Is it like a horror movie? Because kind of what I got from like the preview was like kind of like action-y.
It is. It's almost like Never Back Down in a sense, but
Oh,
like
okay.
way more bloody and gory. But yeah, no, it's not
Mm,
horror at all.
oh, okay, okay.
It was good though. It's a good fighting movie.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Very nice.
So Thursday.
What you got there? Like a fucking Slurpee?
Oh, it's just a
Oh,
a
fancy.
plastic cup with a metal straw.
Gotta save those turtles, man.
That's right. Just do them apart. All right, what do we have for 4K releases this week?
For 4K, not much at all. Only two releases. None of them that I really care about, but maybe other people do. Apparently it is the 40th anniversary of Flashdance.
Oh, okay.
So that got a steelbook and a 4K release.
Nice.
Never seen it, but yeah.
It's good.
And then the other one is a Criterion collection, a movie I've never seen, but I know you might have. It's The Fisher King.
No.
Has, I guess, Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no idea what it is, but
Hmm.
that's it for this week.
Two whole movies.
Yep.
It wasn't a 4K release, but did you see that anniversary set for House of a Thousand Corpses?
I did,
Oh
yes.
man, it's so sick.
I think Slash and Captain picked it up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
someone else that I saw had it too. I was like, wow, this is fucking wicked.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we can hop into the movie discussion.
Is there any news?
Oh yeah. Guess I could do that. Uh, Not a whole lot. There's been a confirmation of a Conjuring spin-off television series in the works at HBO Max. So I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like they're kind of just prolonging this franchise that they don't need to do anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if I like the name that they changed changed it to.
The show?
No, no, like HBO
Oh, just a Max?
Max.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, you don't really know what it is. Um, and I have there's a new Insidious movie coming out that everybody probably already knew, but it's called The Red Door. They've gave it the official title,
The Red Door.
The Red Door.
Is
So
that, yeah, I think the Red Door like makes an appearance in the other ones, right? Like, isn't it in
yeah,
what's her face's house?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I think at the end of number four, I'm pretty sure she like sees like her granddaughter or like her husband, his ghost like go down there, then she gets locked in there, I think, or something.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Hmm.
So I wonder if it's going to be more focused on all that. We would assume. Anyways, the guys at Radio Silence are going to be directing in a Universal Studios monster movie.
I saw that. I don't think they revealed what it was though, right?
No, it's untitled as of right now.
Hmm.
Obviously, the Radio Silence guys are from they directed Scream 5 and 6.
Hmm.
And I'm excited to see what they do with this, even though we don't know what
Yeah,
it
me
is.
too.
Do you have any thoughts on which one it would be?
Yeah, I think uh Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
thinking like The Invisible Man
Mm, I think it's too recent.
or The Phantom of
Like,
the Opera.
what is it? I don't think, is that one of those movies?
Yeah,
Oh, hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's could be two.
I haven't
Is
really
that
seen any IPs, right? Like for that. Like
yeah.
you've seen a lot like Frankenstein spin-offs, like werewolves are kind of
Hmm.
overdone.
Yeah. That's
I
true.
don't know. I
Maybe.
don't
Maybe. All right. Now we can go to the movie discussion.
know.
Right? I'm not forgetting anything else.
No, you're not. No.
No, we're good. All right. Let's cue that theme music and dive in. All right, like we said in the intro, this week we're talking about Bodies, Bodies, Bodies from 2022. Pretty recent movie, so I guess we'll put a little spoiler tag on this. If you haven't watched it and you don't want it to be spoiled, stop listening now
Then go watch it.
and go watch it.
It's on Amazon Prime, so
Yep, it is. And then come back and listen to the rest of the episode.
yeah, don't forget that.
Yeah, because we need all those views and listens. Starting off with the synopsis. When a group of rich 20 somethings plan a hurricane party at a remote family mansion, a party game turns deadly in this fresh and funny look at backstabbing, fake friends, and one party gone very, very wrong.
Too long of a
I
synopsis.
was going to say that felt like it was really long, like I was talking forever. Um, yeah, okay, I'm glad we agree on that part. This movie was directed by Helena Rain. Her only other directing credit is a movie called Instinct, and then she has another short film as well. But she has a lot of acting credits, and one of them is Valkyrie, which is a movie with Tom Cruise. And then she had a bunch of other ones from her native country, which I don't remember where it is. Dutch, Denmark, maybe. So yeah, I didn't recognize any of the other ones. Moving into the cast, we have Amandla Stenberg, who plays Sophie. She's in The Hunger Games, The Hate You Give, Dear Evan Hansen, and The Darkest Minds. Next is Maria Bakalova, who plays B, and she was in Borat's subsequent movie film. So
No way.
the sequel to Borat. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and the holiday special as well.
Wow, she does the voice of Cosmo the dog.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was neat.
That's funny.
Next, I have Rachel Sennott. Sennett? Sennott. She played Alice. She's in Shiva Baby, Bottoms, and I Used to Be Funny. And
Hmm.
lastly, I have Pete Davidson, who plays David. And obviously, he is most famed for his SNL career, dating Kim Kardashian, dating Ariana Grande, dating Emily Ratajkowski, just like
Yeah,
all these beautiful women in Hollywood and like fame, anyways.
I know. He's got that BDE.
I think he does.
Quickly before we go ahead, I just went to on Maria Bakalova's upcoming project. She has like 15 upcoming projects.
Oh, really?
And one of them that caught my eye is it's in production, but it's Unfrosted, the Pop Tart story.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's a comedy about, I guess,
The creation of Pop
the
Tarts?
rival between Kellogg's and Post to compete to create Pop Tarts.
Okay. Do you think it's going to be like uh, what's that one that just came out? Tetris,
Maybe a
like
little
sort of
bit,
thing, or
yeah.
like the social network?
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. Random, but funny. All right. And I have one honorable mention who I'm assuming you probably have as well, but
Yeah,
Lee Pace, who plays Greg.
yeah.
Who did he play? Ronan, Ronan the Executioner?
Yeah, Ronan the Executioner, he was in the Hobbit movies.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
He's in a really good show that got canceled like a few years ago, Halt and Catch Fire.
Mm,
He's really good in that show. Yeah.
nice. Pretty well known actor.
Yeah, he is. I like him a lot.
All right. Did you have any other honorable mentions or just him?
Just him.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about this movie.
All right. Um, yeah, so this movie came out last year and kind of like Who Done It. I think it's an A24 movie.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, kind of like a new age Gen Z-ish, like kind of Clue sort of thing, like a spin on that.
Yeah.
That I could kind of see it, this like movie in like the years to come, kind of maybe get like a little cult following, like
Mhm.
kind of like those like movies from the 80s and 90s where it's like I don't know, like what's that movie we did like the House on Surrey Row,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
like kind of like that kind of vibe.
Hmm.
Whereas in like 15 or 20 years, like I think people will still be watching this movie.
Yeah. It's possible. I kind of mentioned that in my review later on. Like, I'm wondering if this movie will get, or if this is like this generation's early 90s slasher for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like how those movies were so iconic for us. Like, do you think a movie like this would be that for this generation?
Yeah, maybe. So I'm sure in this movie, like, we're millennials ourselves.
Mhm.
Uh, but this kind of is like the more Gen Z kind of way. Like I'm sure there's a lot of
Yeah.
jokes and stuff that like we don't kind of see maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, because we're
But
getting old.
we are, yeah, we are.
But
So yeah, the movie basically David is hosting a hurricane party and for their friends. And so uh B and Sophie are like together. Um they show up this party and the other friends are kind of like surprised to see Sophie there.
mhm.
Like you learn a lot about these characters, but it's not like kind of like force fed. Like the characters are just like kind of like talking and like explaining what's going on. Like they are a
Mhm.
little bit, but it's like kind of spaced out, I think, where it doesn't feel like forced.
I was gonna say like you these characters are developing through the entire movie. Like you're learning new
Hmm.
things about these characters right up to the very end.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think they did that really well.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, they get up there and it almost seems like B is like, I don't know, very different than Sophie.
Hmm.
Like they're like polar opposites. It
Yeah.
seems like B is like nervous to go in there, and there's a lot of stuff in here that like is kind of like foreshadowing a bit, like
Hmm.
when B goes back to the car and she flips the mirror down and then leaves it open, and the camera kind of like pans in, like you knew that was somehow going to come into play later.
Yeah.
So they get to the pool, they're all like swimming, drinking, and stuff like that. And so there's David and Emma. They're together. David is Pete Davidson.
Hmm.
And then there's Alice and probably one of my favorite characters, David. Um,
Greg.
I wrote David twice. Hey,
I
Greg.
know who you meant.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so all the friends are like, I would say probably, well, they say 20 somethings in the synopsis, but definitely like probably just graduated high school, like probably first year college, maybe, or like maybe in the
Yeah.
transition.
Yeah.
And then Greg is like this older dude that Alice met on Tinder. And he's
Yeah.
like probably in his like late 30s.
He's so chill though. Like he reminds me of like Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
not so much a stoner vibe, but just like chill.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, and like Pete Davidson, I think is good in this movie too. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know, I think he's funny. I like him a lot.
Yeah. He played the character perfectly.
He did, yeah. It's pretty much himself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's fair. He's
Yeah,
not that much of an asshole, but
yeah. Uh, yeah. So then Sophie and B show up, and everyone's like kind of surprised that Sophie is there, and doesn't really seem that they like her that much. Like it seems like she disappeared. I think she was in rehab for a bit.
Mhm.
And David is like her best friend. And like this whole friend group is so, well, I say in the
Toxic.
movie a lot, toxic. Yeah. Um, but I would not. This is not my group.
No,
I would just take Greg, and we would be just hanging out ourselves. Honestly,
they're so like fucking ignorant and like I don't know, just awful to each other.
they're so immature.
That too, yeah. See, this is how we know we're getting old.
Yeah, it's true.
Like probably we were like this at that age too.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
true.
anyways, just
Yeah,
fucking drinking and partying all the time.
yeah. So yeah, they're like they get up and they are talking to Sophie, and they're kind of like bitches to each other. Like Jordan is the absolute worst
Yeah.
in this movie. Well, each and every one of them do like eventually piss me off in their own way. But like right from the get-go, like Jordan is like she's the only single person there.
Hmm.
And there's like she says like weird comments and like is really rude to B. Because I think like obviously her and Sophie have a thing going on
Hmm.
that B kind of finds out later on in the end of
Hmm.
the movie. But yeah, what do you think of our characters we have in this movie?
Like you, I really enjoyed Greg.
Yeah,
Alice, I find her really annoying, but she was really funny at the same time.
yeah, yeah,
Like I don't know, yeah, she was annoying because she was always like complaining,
yeah,
but she was really funny too at the same time.
yeah.
I don't like B. I don't like Emma really.
Hmm.
Emma's just like a whiner, constantly whining. Also like Alice, but without the funniness.
Yeah,
And yeah, I like David too.
yeah, yeah.
Jordan
I
is like supreme bitch though.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, yeah. I didn't really like the B character either. Like, I don't know if it was maybe they just didn't get like the right actress for her.
Yeah.
Because like her character didn't really connect with me. Like, I didn't feel sorry for her. Well, maybe at one scene I did kind of feel sorry for
Yeah.
her. But yeah, like her and Sophie's relationship, like, didn't really believe that much. Like, Sophie is like very touchy and like kissy and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Um, and they've only been dating for like 2 weeks apparently too, or
Yeah, like Sophie already
maybe
tells
longer
her
than that. Yeah,
Sophie already tells her that she loves her and
yeah, yeah. So. Maybe she's just like putting on a front in front of her friends to make Jordan jealous.
Yeah, maybe. It's a good point.
But yeah, they're all chilling, and then Greg goes into the house and he comes in with this champagne bottle and fucking big ass sword, and like he's just like shirtless. He just like grabs it and I don't know what it's called, but he's like slices the end of it off.
Yeah.
Everyone's like impressed, and Alice is like, "Go be careful, it's expensive." And David's just sitting there like, "That was." He's kind of a dick, but he's like, "That was kind of impressive, man."
Yeah. Yeah, you could tell. He didn't want to admit it, but
Yeah,
you could tell.
yeah. Uh, and yeah, David has a black eye in the movie, and he kind of explains later that Max, who's another friend that was there,
Hmm.
but he left. He's been gone for like a whole day,
Yeah.
and he admitted that he loved Emma or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I think David said something, and then he punched David in the face
Hmm.
or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like Emma, clearly everyone knows like how Emma is, but you can tell like she does not care about David at all.
No. Likely only with him because his parents are like stupid rich.
Yeah, yeah. And like later on, I think the one of the girls they like call her like a coward and shit like that. Say
Hmm.
like, you should have broken up with him like 3 years ago, but you're too scared and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And she's very like insecure about herself, I think.
Hmm.
Um,
David's
yeah,
such a fucking asshole to her too.
he is. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what's the one thing that he tells her to stop doing? Wasn't
Crying.
crying. Was
Yeah,
it
it's
crying?
crying. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's
He's
like,
like,
you
oh
look,
yeah, stop fucking crying. Like it's not a real cry
yeah,
or
you look
some
fucking
shit.
stupid whenever you do it. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. So Sophie has been sober for a bit. Max is gone, and yeah, so they all get in this living room. It's like a mansion they're into, like it's
Hmm.
huge.
Yeah.
And someone suggests, I think it's Sophie, like, hey, let's play bodies, bodies, bodies. And also before we go ahead, like they have like all these flashlights and lights set up in like the house. A couple of girls, I think Alice is wearing like glow
Hmm.
necklaces and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think they all look really good, like for like their party, and like I think it went really well with the setting and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, they're to play bodies, 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 which is um a game that basically shut all the lights off, and then I don't know exactly how they figure out who the X is because I think she says they like mark an X with one paper, then pass it out,
Hmm.
but I didn't get the whole like slapping in the face thing.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't get that either. Like, does
So
that determine like what order they go in? Like, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. But yeah, they play a game where they have to like one person slaps the other person. I was kind of lost with this part, but uh yeah, they're like slapping each other, and then um B has to slap David, and then she like gives him a couple of love taps, and then they're like, oh no, slap me harder, like I fucking deserve it and stuff like that. And then she slaps him, and then like Greg is sitting next to him. David's like, no, not like that, like this, and just fucking straight punches Greg in the face.
He actually punched him too.
Oh, did he?
Like Lee Pace told him, he's like, no, like actually hit me. Like I want it to look real.
Yeah,
So Pete Davidson actually fucking hauled off and cracked him.
that's hilarious. Oh man. And then like David is like such a dick to him. Like
Hmm.
felt so bad for Greg.
Yeah.
Um, that might have been okay. I think that punch was the second punch they do, I think.
No,
Because after that, Greg is like, oh, I'm gonna go to bed now, and he goes out to bed. But he dies in the game first.
that was after he died. He went up to bed.
Oh, I thought it was after David punched him.
No, No, because he was playing the game and he was the first one to go down and he pretended that he was like actually dead. And like
Yeah,
Alice was like freaking out.
yeah, yeah.
And she finally wakes up, or he finally wakes up and he says the best defense is a good offense. And then David was
Oh,
just being an
yeah, yeah,
absolute
yeah. You're
fucking
right.
dick to him.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, he like punches Greg in the face.
Mhm.
And yeah. So they turn all the power, they turn the lights off, and I really like how this whole scene was filmed. Like it was pretty creepy actually,
Mhm.
and I like the glow sticks and stuff like that. Like it wasn't like super dark like you might expect it to be. Like you could
Mhm.
still kind of see people.
Yeah.
What did you think of this game?
I feel like the game would be fun if we could like get a full set of rules for it. Like
Yeah.
that'd be a fun game to play. Like we're all just drinking at
Hmm.
like at a friend's house or something. Give
Hmm.
you something to do.
Yeah.
We used to play a game similar to it in school. I can't remember what we called it, but you would have to go around and like shake people's hands. And if you were the killer or whatever, you had to like, while you were shaking their hand, you'd have to like jab your finger into their wrist. And
Mm.
that's how they knew that you were the killer. But then they would have to fall down dead.
Okay.
And then until you like got caught, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it reminded me of that. And it kind of, I don't know, brought back a cool memory
Yeah.
of my childhood.
So yeah, the killer has to like touch someone on the back, and then that person's dead. And then if someone finds the dead body, they have to yell bodies, 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 and they all come to the room and try and vote on who the killer is.
It's basically
So
Among Us if you've ever played that video game.
yeah, yeah. So they find Greg dead, and then like you said, Greg is like pretending to be dead,
Mhm.
and they flip him over, and he's like laughing, gotcha or something like that. Um, so they're trying to figure out who killed him. And even before like the game started, I think someone says like, I don't want to play that game because we all get mad at each other and like,
Yeah.
it's bad.
Yeah.
So they're like arguing over like who is the killer, and they're all like, I don't know, like super rude and stuff to each other. Like it doesn't seem like they're friends at all.
No, every time they talk to each other, they're just like going for each other's throats.
Yeah, yeah. So like a few of them are like accusing David, and then David gets pissed off and like makes Emma cry and stuff like that. And then
Mhm.
like um Alice is like very, she doesn't know what decision to make because she'll like be on one decision and someone will say something and she'll be like, yeah, and like agree with them and like have her own questions again.
Yeah. She just like she needs to be the center of attention always.
Yeah, yeah,
So like she floats around with
yeah.
whoever.
And David and Alice are coked out too because
Mhm.
after they slap the game, David like whispers to like Alice like something, and then she's like to Greg, "Oh, I gotta go," and they go and do coke together.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So David gets pissed off. He like runs away, and then I think the game starts back up again, right?
Yeah, they start slapping each other again.
Start slapping each other again, and then was the part where Greg leaves now?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So David, I know Greg is explaining like who he thinks it, like why he thinks it's David. He's like he says, um, what is it? Good offense.
A good defense is a good offense. What did I say it was? Anyways, that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
The best
And then
defense is a good offense.
yeah. And then David like totally like turns like just like yelling at him, like being like, Greg, what do you mean the best defense is a good offense? Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, I mean, that's what it is. And David's like, no, like, tell me why. And like just being a total dick to him. And then that's when Greg is like, fuck you, man. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
And they're all like, okay, good night, Greg. And he leaves. And then the power goes out. David gets mad and I think he leaves.
Yeah.
So B is like in this kind of like garden area thing inside. And then she sees Dave. It's starting to hurricane now because the power went out.
Hmm.
And then David like is outside. You see him like lean up against the window and he's like bleeding everywhere. They all like rush out.
Hmm.
He has a slit throat and the sword is there. And like this is when it kind of starts to get silly and stupid.
Yeah.
Like, well, not the movie, but like you're like, okay, like girls, like stop freaking out. Like just take a minute and think about it, right?
Yeah.
It's like right off the bat, they just like, oh, someone killed David. Oh my God. They slit his throat. And then like one girl will say something like accuse one girl, and then they'll be
Hmm.
like, oh, well, but Max, where is he? Oh yeah, Max probably did it. Then they'll meet up because David's dead now. And they're like talking to Alice, like talking to her, like immediately blaming Greg, like, how long do you have known Greg, like swearing at her and like yelling at her, and it's like,
Yeah.
Jesus, man, these girls.
They turn on each other like on a dime, man.
Yeah, yeah. Uh and then like they're like, how do you even know him? And there's like, he's a good guy, like I know he is. Like they're like, how long have you known him for? And she's like a really long time. And she's like, I don't know, like 2 weeks I've known him. So I mean, like they kind of do have reasoning, but they're just all over the place. Like nothing really makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because they accused B at one point too, because B was the first one to see him and she didn't like rush outside like everybody else did.
Yeah, and then like later on in the movie, they're like, oh well, Jordan might have killed David because she was the last one there. And
Yeah.
it's like nothing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so now they're kind of like all freaking out, and then they go up to Greg's room, and Greg is not there.
Mhm.
They find a backpack with his like, which is like basically like survivor's backpack. Like I forget what they called it, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, they find like a hunting knife. They find like rope. They find a map with a house circled,
Yeah.
and like so it all kind of does look sketchy.
A little suspicious. Yeah.
So they're all like looking for Greg, and then they have an indoor gym in here too, apparently.
Oh, look at that
And
fucking house, man.
and this is probably my favorite scene in the movie. It's like dark in there, but there's like a few like exit lights that like
Hmm.
shine up, and you just see Greg like in the middle of the floor, this like blue mask on, and you're like, what the fuck is he doing? So they all go in there with like fucking vests on. They got like knives and shit.
Yeah.
Um, and like tap Greg, and Greg like wakes up, and what does he say? He's like, oh, he's like, what's going on? What does he say? Like, you still playing monkey, monkey, monkey or something? He's like dancing around, and they have a knife, and he's like, oh, who's the killer? And they're serious. They're like, David's dead. And he's like, oh yeah, that's part of the game. Yeah, David was next.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, how is that possible? Because David killed me. And they're like, no, like you killed David. Um, and he's like still joking around at this point. So funny. I
Yeah.
love him in this whole scene.
Yeah. He's great.
Uh, and then like everyone is accusing him, and then like Alice is on their side too, like, oh, you killed David, and then like he sees they have a knife, and he's like, oh, you guys are serious.
Yeah.
And he's like, why would I kill David? And they're like, why do you have a fucking knife and this bag, and why was our house circle? And he's like, I was
For the
prepping for a
hurricane.
hurricane. And then Alice is like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Guys, he didn't do it. And then he like picks up or he tells him to drop the knife, and then shit hits the fan again. He goes and picks up a knife, and then all of a sudden B hits him over the head with a dumbbell, or
A
whatever they're called,
kettlebell.
kettlebell.
Yeah.
And all the girls like freaking out. There's like blood coming down, and he like is not dead yet. And then she like hits him again, and they all like freak out. And this is like where everyone starts to piss me off
Yeah.
because they all like immediately blame B, like, you fucking murdered someone. It's like 5 minutes ago, you guys were trying to kill him. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, you attacked him with a knife for fuck's sake.
yeah, it's like, oh my God, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else from that scene that you liked or?
No, I mean, yeah, I enjoyed the scene. I think it was a really good one. It,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a surprising kill. Like,
I felt so bad for Greg, man.
oh, I
Like,
did too.
he literally did nothing.
Yeah. He's just chilling. He probably thinks it's amazing that he's dating a girl that's like 10 years younger than him and
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
out and hanging with their friends and just partying and then fucking boom, 10-pound
Yeah.
kettlebell to the head.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, so now they're all like freaking out and they all get in this room and then they are freaking out on B, like, you murdered her, all this shit. And then I think now they all like kind of spread out and are trying to find who the killer was, who
Mhm.
killed David, because they're still trying to figure it out because like I don't think they knew it was David, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm trying to remember the timeline.
Well, Sophie relapses. She does coke.
Oh yeah, they all go out on their own.
Mhm.
She finds a stash that her and David had. Find coke. She relapses. Uh, and then they're all like walking around and it's still dark. And then all of a sudden you hear this like bang, 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 bang. And Alice finds at first Emma had fallen down the stairs and like her
Mhm.
head is like smashed open, like she's
Yeah.
fucked. And then Jordan comes and finds her, and then B comes down the stairs and they're all like, arguing and stuff like that. Like, oh my God, who did this? And then Sophie comes up and then they're like trying to say, oh, she fell down the stairs. Then like B says, oh no, she was pushed.
Yeah.
And like nobody knows exactly what the fuck happened. They're just making shit up at this point.
Yeah. And B's the one that came from down the stairs. So if she got pushed down the stairs, you're basically incriminating yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
But all this
Um,
happens after Emma and Sophie get into like a really heated fight.
yeah,
Um, because Sophie tells her this is when Sophie gets like goes hard on her about dating David.
yeah, yeah,
And but yeah, anyways.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so Emma's dead. She fell down the stairs. Yeah, I'll get into what I think about this movie after everyone dies or all the deaths happen.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so Emma falls down the stairs. They're like in chaos trying to figure stuff out. So it's only the four girls left. And they still think there's a killer in the house somewhere. They think it might be Max.
Mhm.
My first time watching it, I thought like it would have been him in the end of the movie,
Yeah.
that he was the killer. You don't know anything about him. There was like the beef between him, Emma, and David.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, so they're all like paired up, and then like some conversation or like argument starts up where Jordan reveals some stuff about B because she like did some background checks on her apparently.
Mhm.
And she found out that B didn't actually go to this school or whatever she was where her and Sophie met, and that's not her real name and stuff like that. And then like Jordan is like I think doing this on purpose.
Oh yeah,
I think she
100%.
wants to get with Sophie.
Yeah.
So they'll like start accusing B of stuff. Like even Alice is like she's on this side of like the spectrum of like who it is. And then someone says something, then she like just fucking flips a gasket like you killed my fucking boyfriend. Like, I want you out of here now. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, what the hell? You were like on her side 30 minutes ago. Oh
Yeah,
man.
you mentioned earlier that you felt sorry for B at one point in the movie. I don't know if it's this part, but I felt really bad for her at this part.
Yeah, this part because like, she killed Greg because everyone was freaking out
Mm. It was
and
self-defense.
technically self-defense. And then they start yelling at her, saying you fucking murdered someone, and then saying, and then Alice like kicking her out of the fucking house when it's like a hurricane outside. And Sophie is not doing anything because she's kind of like in shock and like pissed at B because she
Mhm.
kind of lied about everything.
Yeah.
So she doesn't like help her. They kick her out into the storm. She's trying to get back inside. She ends up in the car at one point, starts like chucking back some Doritos. She changes her sweatshirt and then she finds a way back inside. And before she goes in, she sees Jordan finding a handgun or loading the handgun.
Mhm.
And then
She also she
oh, go
finds a
ahead.
pair she finds a pair of underwear in Sophie's bag that matches
Jordan's.
Jordan's bra.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, she makes it in through like a doggy door. And then she gets like a hammer. She confronts them all like in this room and immediately like, how the fuck did you get in here and stuff like this. And then she immediately says, oh, like Jordan has a gun.
Mhm.
So then Jordan's like, no one. Oh, and Jordan's like the worst liar in this movie.
Yeah.
Like every time she lies, like even one of her friends points it out, like she yells every time she lies.
Yeah.
And she gets like more defensive and stuff like
Super
that. And
defensive.
like
Yeah.
when it's clearly obvious that she did it, she still like lies.
Yeah.
So yeah, B tells her to empty her pockets. She does. She doesn't have the gun in her pockets, but it one of the things that falls out is the sticky note that has the X.
Yeah.
So she was the murderer. And then this is another part where like I love Alice because like I thought the actress that played her did such a good job of her like
Mhm.
her emotions changing so much. So like immediately she's like against B, kicking her out of the house. And then when Alice like explains, oh, she had the X, she was the murderer, then Alice is like, oh my god, you're right, you're the fucking murderer. And then Jordan is like, yeah, I was the murderer for the game. Doesn't mean that I murdered David and Greg. Oh man, so funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
But they get into another argument too.
about
And
the podcast,
yeah, yeah.
which was a great scene as well.
Nobody even fucking listens to your podcast.
And then like Jordan's like, yeah, I do every week. And then they're like, you know, your voice gets high when you lie. She's like, no, it doesn't. And then gets higher.
Yeah, because Sophie says that she not that she hate listens,
Yeah,
pity
she hate.
listens.
I think hate listens.
Was it hate
I
listens?
think so.
Yeah, and she like listens and then talks shit about her behind her back.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
Jordan's
Alice
like,
is like,
or
don't you
yeah.
know how many hours and work goes into making a podcast? You have to like set calendar reminders and get microphones or something.
Yeah, it just goes off and off how much
Yeah.
work podcasting is. And I mean, I feel that. I feel
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work.
I feel like kind of going back to what you like were saying about the 90s. Like in the 90s, you know, radio was a big thing,
Mhm.
like talk radio and stuff.
Yeah.
But they didn't have podcasts back then. So like basically podcasts these days is the radio to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Very true.
yeah. So yeah, they all get in like a scuffle, and then Jordan pulls out the gun, and then she doesn't shoot B, she shoots Alice in the
Alice in
leg.
the shin. Yeah.
And then they're like, Alice is like, you fucking shot me. And Jordan's holding the gun, pointing it at her. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you fucking did it. Everybody saw you do it.
Yeah. And
Oh
Alice
man.
is like, you fucking shot me. I've never been shot before. I was like, well, I
Yeah.
fucking hope not.
I think her being coked out definitely helped
Oh, yeah.
because she was
Yeah.
not in pain, but she gets shot in the fucking leg. Uh, so then they all kind of start fighting over the gun. The gun like gets thrown on the ground. They're all like fighting over the gun, and then all of a sudden you hear a bang, and everyone like gets off the pile, and Alice was shot in the head, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Like up to her chin.
yeah, up to her chin, yeah.
Yeah.
So Alice is dead. You don't see who shot the gun. So you don't know who did it.
Yeah. Because there's like a big
Um,
pile up, right?
there's a big pile up. Uh, so I mean, it could have been anyone. It was
Fuck,
an
Alice could have
accident.
shot herself.
Exactly. Alice could have shot herself. So yeah, they'll get up, and then I think Jordan picks up the gun again, and who who fights her? I think B. Yeah, B grabs the gun, and they start like fighting and stuff like that. Then like they fall into the railing, and then Jordan like falls from the top of the railing.
Yeah.
Um, and then she lands on her back, and then she's still alive and starts like shooting the gun. And then as she's dying, she says to no one in particular, but I think she was saying this to B.
Yeah.
She says, "Text, test or
Check.
check the text." That was a tough sentence to say.
There you go.
Um, Kind of telling B like, I was still having sex with her and hooking up with her
Mhm.
whenever you guys were together.
Yeah.
So she's dead, and so I think she goes and checks Sophie's messages.
She tries to.
Oh yeah, she because it's daytime now, I think, right?
Yeah.
They go outside and it's like muddy, all the rain's done, and then she sees a phone on the ground and Sophie thinks it's hers, so they start like fighting over it. Um, but then they're like, oh, Sophie is like, oh, this isn't my phone.
Yeah.
And then realized it was David's. And like what I didn't get this time is like, why did they need to see what was on David's phone?
What I was thinking was that like if he had security footage outside of his house, like if he had like an app that would show security footage
Oh, that makes sense, actually. I didn't think of that.
so they could see who killed him.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just because it was a phone that was out there that had service now after everything that happened all night.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they
Or
could have called
maybe
somebody.
because at the start of the movie, they're doing a TikTok dance. So do you think they were using David's phone to take the TikTok? And then maybe they remembered like maybe he was doing a TikTok dance or something by himself outside, or is that too like
I think that's too much of a stretch.
okay? I don't know. As I was talking, I was like, how do I add this all together?
Yeah, no, I
Because
think
it's
that's
revealed, which
yeah.
is fucking hilarious, that David was filming a TikTok of himself trying to do the wine trick that Greg was doing before.
Yeah.
He's like trying it. He's like going away from his neck. Can't get it. So he turns the knife sort of around, is going back, and then like he ends up cutting himself in the neck
Yeah, slit in his
and
own throat.
killing himself.
I remember the first time I watched this movie when that happened, I like verbally was like, "Oh shit." And I thought
Yeah.
it was the funniest fucking thing. I was like,
Yeah.
that is the best fucking twist in one of these whodunit movies.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was great. Like, especially for this generation,
Yeah.
because like he was trying to film, this TikTok to make it go viral.
Yeah.
Because Greg just did it. He didn't do it for a video. He just did it because
Because he's
fucking
cool.
badass. Yeah. And then David just oh my god. So
It's like
funny.
because so many people get hurt doing these fucking TikTok trends. So it was
Yeah.
perfect, really.
Yeah. Um so they watch the video, and then uh all of a sudden the gate opens and Max shows up, and he sees David dead, and he's like, uh what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And then just like Sophie and B kind of look at each other, and I don't know.
Well, the phone starts beeping like notifications.
Oh,
And
because he gets
then,
service back.
yeah. And Sophie's just like, I have service again. And then it
Yeah.
ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll save my thoughts on that till after, but
Okay. But yeah. Um So yeah, what I think, even after my first watch, throughout my first watch, I thought Max was the killer the whole time. But then like by the last couple kills, I think like no one there was no killer. It was just
Okay.
all everyone died mistakenly.
Yeah. Well, it's true.
Like even Greg, like it was just wasn't a like it wasn't a
It's-
mistake like everyone else's death. Like it was accidents. Like Greg was murdered
but it was a
by the reasoning.
misunderstanding.
It was misunderstanding. Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, like Emma clearly fell down the stairs,
yeah,
and Alice got accidentally shot in the head.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
even Jordan, like B didn't mean to kill her. So
No,
B killed two people in this fucking movie. Um,
yeah,
she didn't mean to kill her. Like they were fighting, and she ended up like throwing her off her back, which just happened
yeah,
to be facing a railing.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
What are your thoughts?
yeah. I after the first watch, like I don't think I ever thought like, oh, there's not a killer. It
Yeah,
just seemed like everything was too coincidental, but at the
mhm.
same time, like it all does make sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but with like I didn't like how Alex came in or Max came in and he was just like, what happened? It's like, dude, your friend is fucking dead on the ground. And your only response is, what the fuck happened?
well, I don't think they're friends anymore because I don't think he likes David
Well, that's
anymore.
fair, but I mean, still,
Like I even because he was cheating on Emma, right?
yeah, yeah,
Or like he was going behind David's back on with Emma.
mhm.
So like, I don't think Max gave a fuck about David if he was doing that.
Yeah, that's true. But you would still be like a little more shocked and surprised than
Yeah,
what he was.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
all right.
But yeah, I think it was like a good kind of like I think the dialogue was done really well. Like it kind
Mhm.
of like made you kind of think it could be different people,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
So
because they're constantly flip flopping and turning on each other. So like it puts you in the mindset of like,
mm,
fuck, like if this person's blaming this person, then it could be that person and
yeah.
not this person. It's
And
just
then like they say something that like kind of may change like someone's mind in the character, then also
mhm.
like you like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. My thoughts on who the killer was changed frequently throughout the movie.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it
All right.
does that well.
Well, anything else you want to mention or talk about?
Nope.
Cool. That's the way the glow in the dark blood splatters.
Okay. All right. How did you rate this movie?
So I would give the quality or sorry, the story a 6.
Okay.
Um, it's not an original kind of story. Like there's always been these kind of whodunit, kind of game type horror movies. I don't know if I would call this a slasher. I don't know,
Kind of, I guess.
kind of. Um, but yeah, I think the story was okay. The dialogue was like really well written. I thought I liked most of the characters, or I thought their character development was done really well.
Mhm.
But just like overall, like it's not really much of a story. It's just kind of yeah, you don't get much background on some of the characters, but I guess enough to make you interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what I was saying there.
You're kind of circling around a bit.
Sorry, man. Setables is
Yeah.
going, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So story 6 out of 10. Quality, I give it 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I thought this is a really well filmed movie, and if I think one of the trivias was like, I don't know if the actors kind of had to do their own lighting and stuff like that. So it kind of made me remind me of Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Um,
A little less intense, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, a little bit. Uh, I thought it was filmed really well. I thought all like the actors were perfect, except maybe like B, but
Mm,
I thought everyone did a fantastic job. I like the direction. The music, I mean, it was okay, not really my type of music. Like,
Oh, I
and
loved the score.
I didn't know the last song was fucking Iggy Azalea. I didn't know that was her song.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. 8 out of 10 and 6 out of 10.
Sweet. My story, I also gave it a 6 out of 10.
Right.
I said it's a pretty typical whodunit that's highly tailored to younger or to people younger than us, but it's still
Mhm.
enjoyable and has an amazing twist ending. The script was really well done for the target audience, and I hope that this movie has the effect on a younger generation of horror fans that some of our classics had on us.
Mhm.
For me, as a 34-year-old man, I couldn't really relate to every character in the movie, but
Yeah.
like I mentioned before, I loved Alice,
Mhm.
and her monologue on being a podcaster really kind of struck home, obviously. Uh, so yeah, I really enjoyed her character. I did not like the ending at all. Like I liked the reveal of Pete Davidson
Yeah.
killing
Yeah.
himself, but like with Max coming through the fence and then uh B just holding up the phone and saying, I have service now.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, it's just a really weird and weak way to end a pretty solid movie.
Mhm.
So yeah. And my
So do
quality
you, oh, sorry, real quick.
no,
So
go
do you
ahead.
think once they got back, whenever she says like, "Oh, I got service back now," do you think Sophie was going to show her the text?
I don't know.
They kind of had like that look, like
Yeah.
in their eyes.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe I don't know, but
Hmm.
go on.
Quality, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
All right.
I said the practical effects were good, the score was very well done, and the set design and lighting uh, were both awesome. Um, you mentioned that, yeah, part of the trivia was that the actors had to do it themselves, and that I did read that as well. Like they had to be taught how to properly set up their lights and all this shit.
Mhm.
And basically, if they made a mistake, the entire scene had to be scrapped
Oh yeah, yeah,
because they filmed this movie in like complete darkness, basically.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was really cool. Um, yeah, I already mentioned the script, and I really enjoyed the comedy in this one too.
yeah,
Like there was
yeah.
quite a bit of it, and it was really well done and tasteful.
Mhm.
So 6 to 10 and a 7 out of 10.
Very nice.
Mhm. All right, you guys know our scores. Let's head on over to Rotten Tomatoes and see what they've scored it. There's an audience one for this one as well because it's a newer movie.
All right.
But the critics' consensus, impeccably cast and smartly written, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is an uncommonly well done whodunit. So, what do you think the critics scored it?
Sounds like they liked it, so I'm gonna go 87.
Oh, you're so close. 86
Damn, fuck.
on 228 reviews and an average score of 7 out of 10.
Nice.
The audience consensus thing, it may resonate more with younger audiences, but Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is one horror comedy that doesn't skimp on scares or laughs. You want to take a stab at the audience score?
Audience score. I'd say it's probably around there. I'll say 82.
Oh, 69%
Jesus.
on 500 ratings and an average score of 3.7 out of 5.
Damn.
Yeah. And what's Letterboxd have for us?
Letterboxd has a 3.5 out of 5. You and me both gave it 3.5. Screaming Cinema gave it 3.5. Jessica or Jess from Horror Movie Crew gave it a 3. Slashing Captain gave it a 2 out of 5. Erica, what the heck?
Uh huh.
Horror Cafe, 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. All right, we'll have to talk about that. I know there's a few here somewhere.
I
Sorry.
think Josh rated it too, I think.
Yeah, somewhere here. Yeah, Josh gave it 3 out of 5. I know that Anthony gave it a 2 out of 5, and Jensen gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Lots of twos, lots of 3.5s,
and a one.
and yeah, yeah. Oh
Wow.
well. Um. All right, you ready for the scare section?
Yes, sir.
All right. What did you give it for a scare rating?
Scare rating, I gave it a 2 out of 10. Uh, there's a couple like creepy scenes. The gore is like pretty good, I guess, but like it's not overly scary. Like the real life situation, I don't know. I don't think I'd be scared, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So yeah. Scariest scene. I would go like whatever the first lights go out, like their first go
Okay.
around, and like you're following B with her like light phone. And there's like a couple scenes where like people like will like walk by. And then the one scene with Greg where he just is like, "Ooh." I thought was good. And then he like just like walks up the stairs like creepily.
Yeah.
That was all filmed really well.
Yeah.
So and would I survive? I will say yes, because I'm not as clumsy as the rest of these fools.
All right. Fair enough.
What about
Uh,
you?
Scare rating, I also give it a 2 out of 10. I said it's a horror comedy that has more comedy than horror, but there's the suspense of not knowing who the killer is, and there were a couple of like holy fuck scenes.
Mhm.
The dark atmosphere was effective, but it was toned down by the comedic breaks throughout the movie. Scariest scene, I left that blank because I really couldn't
Okay.
think of one that was like scary. I
Hmm.
mean, I guess yours could be, but I don't want to piggyback off that. So I don't know. I just left it blank.
All
I
right.
don't know. I could just pick one, I guess. And would I survive? I said I'd likely end up being Pete Davidson and slicing my own neck, being an idiot with a sword, trying to get the podcast TikTok famous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, this movie's a lot of fun.
It is, yeah. I enjoy it.
Not not a fantastic movie, but
I think this is like a yearly watch for me.
yeah, it's worth watching frequently.
Yeah.
But yeah. So next week, well, to end the month, we're going to be doing a face off.
Hmm.
Kicking off the face off. It wouldn't be a movie with a water theme if we didn't include this movie.
Yeah.
Um, Next to Shallows, it's only going to be our second shark movie
Hmm.
that we've ever done. But of course, we have to talk about Jaws.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, you'll have to wait and see who we feel is worthy enough to face off against the great white shark.
Yep.
But I'm excited. It's an old
Me too.
movie, obviously, but
Hmm.
it's a classic. It's loved by pretty much everyone. So I
Yep.
think it'd be a good talk.
For sure.
All right, let's see if I can fucking rhyme this off. All right. If you guys want to catch us on social media, you can find us at Podcast on Elm Street on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you click the link in our bio on Instagram, you'll find links to our TeePublic account where we have our merch. There's also a link to our Patreon account if you wish to support the podcast that way. And there's also links to each of our individual Letterboxd channels, pages, accounts, whatever, our Discord server, and anywhere that you can listen to us. I did
Yes.
it. Did
You
it.
did it.
Woohoo.
Woo. All
All
right.
right.
Well, talk to you next week, guys.
See you later.